Good morning. Yeah, sorry. I was thinking about what I wanted to say and then I forgot to actually say anything. So I wanted to take a little bit of time this morning to talk about some thoughts I was having in the shower. Shower thoughts are the best thoughts, but because I'm not entirely sure how much like vloggy type footage there will be today, because I think today's just going to be a pretty lazy hangout at home day. Wesley actually has to work all this week, but he's working from home, which is really nice because it means I get to spend a lot more time with him. But it also means that we can't like go do fun things during the day because he actually has to be doing work. So, yeah, I wanted to talk about something I was thinking about in the shower, and I kind of want to prop my phone up so I don't have to like keep sitting here holding it. Let's see, can I sort of prop it up? There we go. It's not a great angle, but we'll go with it. So something I was thinking about in the shower this morning is sort of like habits and sort of the New Year's, resolutions and things that are sort of coming around. And if you've been watching the podcast for a while, you might have picked up that I am very interested in sort of like, how does the brain work? How do we form habits? Why do we do the things that we do? And kind of how can we optimize our behavior? And I've read a lot of books about that. A really good one is The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. And I actually just got another book checked out on loan from the library called The Craving Mind. And I've read Irresistible, which is about like how technology kind of hooks your brain. So I've done a lot of reading about this, and I find it something to be really fascinated in. So my thoughts on this, sort of synthesizing what I've pulled together and sort of just from my life, and maybe this will help someone who's making a New Year's resolution. For one thing, I don't have any problem with New Year's resolutions. I know a lot of people have a huge problem with them. They're like, well, it's just some arbitrary date. You could just start it at any time. But to me, that almost reinforces that, like, why not on New Year's, right? If you can pick any day, why not January 1st, right? We as people sort of like these like nice round, neat numbers. So why not January 1st, But I think, obviously the problem is that people have a hard time sticking with New Year's resolutions. They tend to really fall off after a week or two. And so this is my thought on sort of how can you stick with New Year's resolutions? And it's something I'm going to be doing and as well. So sort of to use as an example, my sort of New Year's resolution is that I want to be doing more yoga, because I used to do yoga, pretty consistently when I was in grad school, and I sort of had a very flexible schedule. And then once I sort of left grad school and became a proper adult, it became a lot harder to do that. And I'd like to get back into it. But, the problem with yoga or, really sort of any intentional exercise is that you have to think about, like, where does this fit into the schedule of my day? And that can get kind of hard when you are an adult and you have a job and you have chores that need to be done, and maybe you have kids or, whatever. It's like, there's not a lot of time in the day. So I think the important thing for things like that is to figure out, like, what is the bare minimum that you will consider for having done that thing. So for me, if I want to be doing yoga, let's say every day, I want to do some yoga every day, I have to think about, like, what is the bare minimum for what I will consider having done yoga for the day? Or if you maybe say want to exercise 4 times a week, figure out, like, what is the bare minimum on that? And once you've kind of figured that out, like, don't feel bad about doing the bare minimum, right? So for me and yoga, maybe I would say, okay, well, the bare minimum is that I do a YouTube, video for yoga, and it doesn't really matter how long it is, right? So like, I just did a 7-minute one this morning. That's yoga, right? That counts. And so that means I can check that box for today. And it means that I can sort of, on the days that I don't have a lot of time, I can keep up that momentum so that on the days that I do have time, I can then, do longer yoga. And I'm like, yeah, I'm doing my yoga. And over time, right, the point is building the habit, right? The point is building the habit for me of doing the yoga. And once you kind of build the habit, the rest will kind of work out on its own. It will progress on its own. Similar kind of like if going to the gym is your thing. Like, maybe say, okay, for busy weeks, if exercising 4 times a week is my goal, well, maybe, going to the gym doesn't necessarily have to be the bare minimum. Or maybe just going to the gym, right? Going to the gym, changing into your clothes, get on the treadmill for 5 minutes, change out of your clothes, you're done, right? You went to the gym, boom, you're there. Or for me, sometimes I will say that my bare minimum for exercising is hitting my 10,000 steps for the day, right? If I hit 10,000 steps, well, I was active enough and that's good enough for me. And that helps to kind of keep that momentum going. Or if, let's say, there have been times when I've been trying to sort of get back into the habit of healthy eating. And for me, it was as simple as saying, I want to have a vegetable with 2 of my 3 meals of the day, right? I don't make any specifics about like how much vegetable or what kind of vegetable. Like if I nibble a piece of broccoli at lunch and dinner, that's good enough, right? Because it's, with habits and things, it's about reinforcing the cues and the triggers and everything. It's not so much about like the quantity, it's more so about the quality, right? If you keep doing that thing every single day, eventually the quantity will work itself out. So that was just a thought that I was having about New Year's resolutions. How long have I been? I've been babbling on for about 6 minutes now, so hopefully there isn't too much other vlog footage for the day. But just a thought about New Year's resolutions, and if you're setting them, really be honest with yourself and say, like, what is the bare minimum that I will consider for having done that thing for the day? And don't feel bad about it, right? Because even if you're just doing the bare minimum, it's better than nothing, which is presumably what you were doing before. So for me, if I'm doing 5 minutes of yoga, it's better than no yoga, and that's good enough for me. So deep thoughts for the day. But we'll see what else I get up to today, and yeah, I'll check back in with you guys later. After letting myself have just all the sugar for the past couple of days, I am eating lots of vegetables today. I did have some chicken with my lunch, but my vegetables weren't done. So the chicken already got eaten, and this is my vegetables for lunch, and I have even more vegetables for the rest of my lunches this week. And like, oh my gosh, seriously, I loved eating a bunch of sweets and all of that, but like, today I'm just like, give me all the nutrients. Speaking of eating all the sweets, I have to recommend this chocolate to anyone who likes dark chocolate. I know I've seen it at like one of the Hy-Vees back in Minnesota, like one of the really new ones that they put in the Twin Cities that was kind of fancy. I think they probably also have it at like places like Whole Foods. I know they don't have it at the Kroger that I go to, but they might have it at like fancier Krogers. I don't know. But it's this dark chocolate. It comes in these round discs, and there's 2 per package, and I've eaten one of them. But it's really cool because it only has like 2 ingredients in this one, which is cacao beans and sugar, and that's it. And it's this stone ground, so it actually has kind of an interesting texture to it, where it's like, it's not super smooth. Like, it has a little bit of texture. And like, the best way I can think of it is like, for those of you guys who eat natural peanut butter, if you buy smooth or like creamy natural peanut butter, sometimes, like some brands, it is like silky smooth. Versus some brands, it has a little bit of texture left in the peanut butter, right? Like they didn't grind it to be super smooth. That's what this is like. It has just a little bit of texture, which I really love. So I think I'm actually going to like stock up on a bunch of these and take them back home with me until I can figure out where to source them in Richmond, because they are so good. But yeah, I highly recommend, if you're a dark chocolate fan, this Taza chocolate. And it comes in different flavors too. Highly, highly recommend. Holy bad overhead lighting, Batman! Anyway, so there has been a whole lot of days since I talked to you guys last. I think that was about lunchtime. So since then, Wesley and I actually went to Michael's, because there's a Michael's right up here, and I did not pick up any like yarny bits or anything because I'm going to Vogue Knitting Live in like 3 weeks. I'm trying to, put off any sort of like yarny or crafty purchases like that. But I did wind up getting this guy, which is a planner. Sort of in my podcast when I talked about sort of how I, keep my life together and how I like use planners and stuff, I mentioned that I have the one that I keep at work, which sort of just gives me an overview of my week and like gives me a place to write down each day, like this is a thing I would like to get done today. And then when I put it into my Moleskine, it gets a specific time. So this is actually going to be sort of something similar for at home, to sort of say like, these are chores that I want to get done on each day. And these are maybe a task that needs to get done on a specific day. So I can write it in here ahead of time. And then when that day comes, I can sort of, figure out a time for it. Plus it's going to be doing some meal tracking or meal planning and spending tracking, because those are a couple things I want to get a little bit better at. And I figured if I have a nice pretty planner which has cactuses on the front it might motivate me to, you know, really stick with it. But anyway, this is basically going to be the end of the vlog for today. Wesley is just doing dishes. We ate a little bit of dinner, and now we are going to go out for some after dinner snacks back to the Skinny Pancake, which is where we went on Christmas Eve, because I guess they have fried cheese curds, which is totally a Minnesotan thing, and Wesley hasn't had them in forever, so he really wants that. And I'm gonna get some like sweet potato fries and maybe a dessert. So I will probably, well, I will do my best to remember to record a little clip of that, but otherwise that's gonna be basically it for the vlog today. Yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Bye. They're so good it doesn't want to focus on them. There we go.